virtually every number was the best. Get back to where we were, rage and be great with jobs and everybody be happy. And that's where we're going, and that's where we're heading.
Welcome back to Radio DMG. I'm your host, Philip, the Mile High Mouth, or the Mouth of the Midwest, depending on where you are at. And, well, we're back. So, this is the first episode of the second season, officially, of Radio DMG. What are these seasons going to curtail? Well, they're going to curtail, entail, a lot of content that we haven't put out yet. Like, I have literally dozens and dozens, if not like a lot of interviews and stuff that we haven't made available yet. And sometimes in these interviews, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be, well, it's just going to be that. I'm going to have a little bit here telling you what's up, and then we're going to have an interview in here, and that's pretty much it. So come back every Friday. These could be about maybe 30 minutes to an hour, depending. Some content from season 1, because I didn't really write down everything that we did in season 1. If there's some repeated content, that happens, but season 2 will be 60 episodes, brand new one every week or so, mostly new, probably new to you, who knows. And check it out. Please enjoy this upcoming content, because, well, it is content. I mean, you're here and you're watching it, so here you go. We've got interviews coming up. The interview will, of course, be announced in there. There'll be at least 1 or 2 interviews per episode, making them pretty, standard. You'll be able to download a version of this in audio format and a version of it it'll be on YouTube. It'll be on that, and it'll also be where you can download it from our server, and then we may have an extended version on X or Rumble or whatnot, depending. It's more or less up in the air right now, but here you go. This is the first episode of a brand new season of Radio DMG. Yeah, I gotta get back into the swing of things, and maybe we'll also get some better quality audio in there, some better quality recording, etc. We're gonna be doing a lot with it, so we'll check it out. And until next video comes out, you are now caught up. Welcome back to Radio DMG. I'm your host, Will Wesley, the Mile High Mouth, and I'm here at Colorado Anime Fest 2019 with
Terry Doty. Hello.
And in case our studio audience isn't familiar with who you are and what you do, who are you and what do you do?
I'm still trying to figure that out, honestly. But I am a voice actor, director, sometimes writer for studios such as Funimation Entertainment, Sentai Filmworks, Okratron 5000, and so on.
So, how did you get involved with that? I mean, was it something you originally set out to do?
No, life really is about lily pad to lily pad for me. I initially started out as a performer doing stand-up comedy, and then started doing theater productions both on and off the stage, and just cut to a few years later, happened to just get called in on a whim by Joel McDonald, a fellow theater actor in the area, and through Funimation's talent coordinator, Tara Williams, now Tara Crum. She asked me if I was available for a 1-hour session with Joel. I had no idea what it was, and it happened to be Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicles, and it just kind of snowballed from there, luckily.
So, how did you get involved or interested in, say, stand-up?
I've always been kind of a steal your own thunder, like, make fun of yourself before someone else can, and it just kind of started translating to, oh, I made my dad laugh. My dad's, hard ass, so I like being funny. And I'm married to a sound engineer. Sound engineers are very traditionally very stoic, very quiet people, so when you can make them laugh, you're like, oh, okay, I think I'm funny. And a friend of mine happened to be doing defensive driving at a local comedy club, and I just kind of had to sit there while she was going through it and made the bartender laugh, and he said that was a really hard thing to do, and started doing little open mics, and then I started hosting open mics and doing my own little sets, and it just kind of became something. Even to this day, I love writing comedy. It's fun.
So, how do you get into the mind frame to go up there for your first open mic or your first time in front of a crowd in stand-up?
Well, it's a lot like any form of performing, where if there are nerves, I think it's best, for me personally, not to ignore them, but to play with them. And go ahead and own up to that. I don't think it benefits anybody to pretend like your hands aren't shaking. And just I go into the mindset that assuming that we're all friends and that you get my point of view. And if that's not the case, then please laugh anyway. But it's kind of an adrenaline high after that. When you walk off that stage, even if you bombed, it's like, you know what? I got up there. That wasn't easy. Go me.
It's kind of like it's the experience of it. Like you don't have to be brave. You just have to do it.
Yeah.
Like the brave part comes later when you're like, oh yeah, I completely was prepared for that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like totally, yeah. After the fact, yeah, totally.
So was like the theater or stand-up or acting something that you grew up with?
Yes, I grew up in a single-parent household with my mother, and I happened to not really get told not to do it, but the arts and performance isn't really something that was in my family's really worldview. It was about working to support your family, not necessarily working into something that you enjoy. So it took a little bit for them to really see why it was a big deal for me, but I had met my freshman year of high school, my first drama teacher, Angela Stidham, and she kind of, I don't know, she took me under her wing and made me just kind of see, like, this is where I belong. This is where I feel welcome, and the rest is history, I suppose. And I get to talk to her classes to this day, and because even now she's talking about how voice acting isn't something she ever thought as a possibility. So it's pretty wild.
So it was kind of like they wanted you to be like a doctor or somebody that bring home the bacon in another way, and then you were kind of brought in with I guess like a kind of a Dead Poets Society type thing where
oh, Captain, my Captain.
Yeah. Brings you over and it's like, no, this is what you might prefer.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. So, even just college. It's like, okay, I know you want to be an actor. Can you major in something else? And I chose radio, television, film, which wasn't much better.
Oh goodness, yeah, radio, television, film. Those are all incredibly not dying breeds of stuff, right?
No.
They're fine.
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
No one's ever died. It's great.
Nothing's on fire in that industry. Well, speaking of things that aren't on fire, what do you think so far about Colorado Anime Fest 2019 and Denver, Colorado?
Denver so far has been very, very welcoming, aside from, the what is it? Everyone keeps I've never had staff members be like, are you drinking water? Are you drinking water? Like I'm going to just like evaporate into nothing. But aside from that, this is my first time here, and it's so crazy because I didn't realize till I got here that I'd met so many people through Anime Milwaukee, which I'd done a couple of years before that. and it's really welcoming. It's very chill. I got to bring my husband with me, which is hit or miss sometimes for conventions, and it's been really good. The fans and the turnout for the panels, the questions people ask, it's been very enlightening. Because some conventions, you just don't know what you're walking into. I always like to walk into it with positivity, and most of the time I'm not proven wrong. But and the other ones you just don't do again. It's been a lot of fun, and hopefully I can come back.
Excellent. We'd love to have you back here at Colorado Anime Fest, and rather Denver, Colorado.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
So, what's been the most impressive part of the convention so far to you?
The turnout at panels. It's not necessarily something I'm unaccustomed to, but the questions being asked are so unique. As a voice actor, you do tend to get a lot about what was it like recording this, or how do I become a voice actor? And there are still those, and I try to, every time I answer it, give it a different spin and a little more flair. But they just seem to really be curious about just things I'd never really thought about before. And also, I feel like with some of the things that have happened recently, I feel like a lot of us have been humanized, and I think that shows in the way that people approach us in these past couple of months. It's been really, really great, and a couple of people have brought me to tears, and I've only brought a couple of other people to tears, hopefully positively.
Yeah. Voice actors are people too. Mm-hmm. So treat them as people.
Please.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, going back to the convention, what would you say the energy here at Colorado Anime Fest has been like? How would you describe it?
The energy, in a word. I don't know. Steven, my husband, and I were talking about this earlier. It's like there's definitely a vibe. Every convention's got its own, flair, but I just feel like I'm hanging out with friends when it comes to the staffers and the volunteers. Bless them. But the attendees, they're just keyed in a way where even just walking around the dealer's room, you kind of just felt like you've already been here before, because it's just very laid back. I like it a lot.
It's a good energy, kind of
even the hotel staff, it's great.
Almost a nostalgic energy, or it's that nice little joy, that high that you get from the convention. One thing I've noticed though with a lot of conventions, because we've covered quite a few, when you see people at the convention, they're just full of that joy, that energy that flows through it, that good positive vibe. They're all the way keyed up at these conventions, and then when the convention's over, they pack up everything and they go home to their family or school or work. That energy just sometimes kind of dissipates, and they fall into a post-convention a funk or a depression afterwards. Do you have any suggestions on how people can take that wonderful vibe of the convention, that wonderful energy and power of that joy, and apply it to their everyday lives?
It's about not pushing yourself too much, because for me, I tend to, I plan to do this today, I have to do this today, and stress out about it. But after a convention, it really is about taking a moment, and it's self-care. You hydrate, you stay off your feet a little bit, especially if you've been staffing, my God. As far as containing that joy, as many photos as I love taking and buying too much in the dealer's room, it's the memories and the interactions and focusing on that, because it's so easy to focus. It's easy to be hateful or fall into the negative space, but make work harder for yourself. Focus on the positive, not necessarily completely negate the bad stuff that might have happened, but don't give them that power. Give that power to the positivity. And if that's just as simple as me, I have this whole goal every day. I try to compliment someone I don't know, and on something, just hopefully, if they're having a bad day, they can have at least that one positive thing. So it's just paying it forward. Even on the most crap day, I have to remember, I have a great guy. I have a great chocolate lab named Zoe. And I get to do stuff like this, go to conventions and do voices for a living. It's not a bad life. So just focusing on the positive.
So just generally not allowing the world to steal that joy, to guard it, keep it with you.
Safeguard that, yes.
Yeah. So, is there anything that you'd like to go ahead and promote that you can talk about at this time?
Well, there is my book that came out in 2017. In October or November of late last year, the audiobook came out, and that is a full vocal cast with Monica Rial, Christopher Sabat, Josh Greeley, Aaron Dismuke, Tia Ballard, a lot of amazing people. So if you are a fan of audiobooks, please, I encourage you to check out One of Few, which is my science fiction novel. And then A Recovery of an MMO Junkie is available on DVD as well as Crunchyroll. Please check out the dub.
So, you wrote a sci-fi.
Yes, I did.
Is there a particular science fiction author that you feel you draw some influence from? Like, say, Philip K. Dick or Brian Aldiss?
Asimov is a cop-out, but yes, I did read a lot of that, and Frank Herbert. A lot. My father got me into Dune and science fiction, so...
Dune's a pretty good one. That's a really good one to get into.
Yes, I love it. And I also collect science fiction novels based on the old 80s, 70s, 80s artwork.
So you have read any of the stuff like Man in His Time by Brian Aldiss and all that. Good. Those are good.
Yes.
His stuff's pretty good.
And there's been some great science fiction just as far as YA that's come out and playing with different fairy tales like the Lunar Chronicles. It's a great time to be a fan of any genre, really.
Is there anything you're currently reading through?
I read, on average, about 5 to 9 books a week. So, yes, there's always something I'm reading. The last one that I just read, Every Last Word is a really good book. I live with OCD, and that had a really good take on living with it. Of course, some of it's fantastical, but you deal with that. It's YA. And I always love the Lunar Chronicles. My favorite series of all time is the All Souls trilogy by Deborah Harkness. When I went to New York, I found a first edition signed print, and I'm like, oh, yeah, how much is that? Give me it. So I read a lot of supernatural stuff too, but that's a big favorite of mine.
Oh, you did mention OCD. What do you do for grounding? Do you do any of that?
Occasionally. A big thing with me, I have a thing about the number 4. I do have bracelets. I also have, my little tweaking thing here. It's a bracelet that I created that just kind of centers me. But also just, I do, mental health is a big thing. Talking to people that understand as well as therapists had been incredibly helpful.
Well, before we go, how can people find you online? If you want to find
you. How can they find... No, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @tdodally, and also my website, terrydoty.com, and I do have a podcast coming out shortly, so keep a lookout for that.
Oh, excellent. I'll have to check that one out.
Yes.
Well, I want to thank you for this interview here.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And this has been your host, Philip Wesley, the Mile High Mouth, here at Colorado Anime Fest with
Terry Doty.
Until next episode comes out, you are now caught up.
Morning, Maya.